Hello! I'm Elaine, and I'm a tour guide in the French Quarter. I do ghost tours. And I am not going to tell you the stories that I tell on my tour, because you gotta pay for those. But if you want to hear some interesting things that have happened to me while I'm leading random drunk people around the French Quarter, I got you. One of the things I say almost every night on my tour is you're not going to take the evil spirits home with you unless you do something to provoke them. There are a couple of different ways you can provoke them. So I say that at one specific site that is notoriously known to be cursed. Ooh. But at that specific site, people act a fool as well. It is the most popular spot for tours in the French Quarter. And there's always 7 million tours there, so you're often competing with other tour guides and chaos. There's always the crew of homeless guys that hang out across from the quick stop. It's not a quick stop, but I'm not going to say the name. And they are often drunk, sometimes singing songs, sometimes playing instruments, sometimes causing chaos. There's been a shooting on that corner when a drunken tourist pulled out a gun and shot a homeless guy. Everybody survived. It was fine. No big deal. From what I understand, the guy was out there the very next night asking for pain pills for his foot, which was fair because it had been shot. But on my tour specifically, there was one night, it was a super quiet night, nobody was out there. I arrive at that location, and I think it's so lucky that I'm the only person there. And I'm trying to tell this story, and my guests give me that look, and I turn around, and there are 4 drunk guys climbing the gate in front of the front door of that house. And my guests are like, do I need to call somebody? And I'm like, no, probably not. There are cameras on the door. The police will probably come on their own in a minute. There's also a night that I was doing that spot, and it was a busy night, so I was very surprised when I arrived at that location and no one is standing directly in front of the house. And I launch into my story, and like 2 lines in, I realize why. There's a party happening at the house, and a guy up on the balcony has a vuvuzela. So I'm trying to tell my story, and behind me is and I'm like, oh my god. And I move us a little bit further away, but I'm just determined to troop through this. And at one point, drunk guy with the vuvuzela drops it, and I'm like, oh, thank god we can now finish this story, because it's going to take him at least like 5 minutes to get downstairs, get that thing, and get back upstairs. And then some jerk walking by on the sidewalk decides to throw it back to him. And I'm like, could you be any more of a jerk? Do not do that to everybody else in the world. Nobody wants to hear that. But when it comes to tourists, I have seen people taking the cute, like, duck face selfies in front of that house, which I find really inappropriate, because this story is not a fun time cutesy story. This is a story about the horrors of enslavement. But the one that bothered me the most was I was doing a story there one night, and I was in the section of my tour that is literally just about, hey, look, slavery was really bad. And I'm listing some of the horrific things that happened to human beings and stressing the fact that these are human beings that this happened to. And a guy walks by behind my group, laughs loudly, and says, oh, that's all bullshit. None of this happened. And I'm like, I'm talking about slavery. He's like, yeah, that's bullshit. None of this happened. And I was like, well, congratulations. That is how you bring something evil home with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to share your own experiences in the comments below.